In the world of combat sports, there are dream matchups that seem impossible, fights that exist only in fantasy, debated endlessly by fans who dare to ask, what if? But what if the impossible actually happened? What if two titans from entirely different worlds collided in a battle that no one saw coming? Tonight, that fantasy becomes reality. A savage warrior with a relentless hunger for dominance faces off against a living legend who built his empire with brute strength, discipline, and an iron will. This isn't just another fight. This is Khamzat vs. The Rock. The air is thick with tension, the kind that only comes before something historic. Under the bright lights of an undisclosed underground fight arena, a storm is brewing. The crowd, an eclectic mix of fight purists, Hollywood elites, and high-stakes gamblers, murmur in excitement. This isn't about titles, belts, or sanctioned rules. This is about something primal, a battle of sheer willpower and physical supremacy. A once-in-a-lifetime event where respect is earned through pain and dominance. Khamzat, the undefeated destroyer, steps into the arena like a predator stalking its prey. His reputation alone sends shivers down spines. Fighters have fallen before him in mere seconds, overwhelmed by his relentless pressure and unshakable confidence. His eyes, sharp as a blade, scan the arena as if he's already mapped out the ending. No hesitation, no doubt, just the hunt. He doesn't care who stands in front of him. He only knows one thing: smash everyone. On the other side, a man whose name needs no introduction. A global icon, a warrior in his own right, built from the ground up through hardship, sweat, and an unbreakable spirit. The Rock stands tall, broad-shouldered, and battle-ready. Years of discipline carved him into a machine of power and endurance. Though he has spent his life entertaining millions, tonight, there are no scripts, no cameras to cut away the reality of what's about to unfold. He knows this is not the world he comes from, but he's never backed down from a fight in his life. And he won't start now. As they stand across from each other, the contrast is striking. One, a brutal force of nature trained in the art of destruction. The other, a titan of industry, a man forged in resilience and raw power. Their eyes lock, and in that moment, the noise of the crowd fades into the background. There are no words exchanged, only a silent understanding between two warriors about to step into the unknown. A signal is given. The crowd holds its breath. Every fiber in their bodies is primed for war. And then the fight begins. The first few seconds feel like eternity. Neither man makes the first move, but the energy in the air is almost suffocating. Khamzat shifts his weight slightly, his muscles coiled like a panther ready to pounce. He's fought world-class athletes, maulers, and strikers, but this is different. This isn't a trained martial artist standing before him. It's something else. A force of nature, a man whose sheer presence commands respect, built through decades of relentless discipline. But respect means nothing in a fight. The moment that bell rang, The Rock was no longer an icon. He was just another opponent. Then, like lightning, Khamzat explodes forward. The speed is blinding, a blur of movement that no man his size should be capable of. The Rock barely has time to react before Khamzat is in his space, testing him with feints, forcing him backward. The crowd erupts, half in shock, half in awe. The power behind those movements is undeniable. One mistake, and it's over. But The Rock doesn't flinch. He spent a lifetime adapting, pushing through pain, thriving under pressure. His footwork isn't polished like a professional fighter's, but it's efficient. He stays light, watching, analyzing. He's been in high-stakes battles before, maybe not in an arena like this, but he understands the psychology of a fight. Khamzat wastes no time. He lunges, throwing a crushing right hand designed to break through any defense. But just before it lands, something unexpected happens. The Rock doesn't step back. He steps forward. A lifetime of weight training and explosiveness pays off as he meets the strike head-on, absorbing the force while countering with a devastating shoulder bump that sends a shockwave through the crowd. Khamzat staggers, not from pain, but from sheer surprise. He wasn't expecting resistance like this. For the first time, doubt flickers in Khamzat's mind. Not fear, never fear, but curiosity. He's never faced someone who could meet his power without breaking. He circles, resetting his stance, recalculating. The Rock, breathing steady, gives him a look that isn't arrogance, isn't mockery, just something that says, "I'm still here." The fight is far from over, but outside the arena, a different battle is unfolding. Behind the scenes, whispers spread like wildfire. How did this fight even happen? Some say it was a secret challenge issued in private, a test of dominance that spiraled into something far bigger than intended. Others believe there's something more at play, a bigger game being played behind the curtain, orchestrated by figures far more powerful than anyone inside that ring. In the VIP section, a man in a sharp suit watches with unreadable eyes. He leans forward slightly, hands folded, studying every movement with the focus of a chess master watching pieces being moved. To him, this is more than a fight, it's an opportunity. A test of something bigger, something that extends far beyond two warriors clashing in a hidden arena. Next to him, a woman in a black leather jacket sips her drink, her eyes locked on the fight. She knows something others don't, but for now, she says nothing. Back in the ring, the intensity escalates. Khamzat switches tactics. If brute force isn't enough, he'll use his greatest weapon, his ability to break an opponent's rhythm. He fakes a takedown, forcing the Rock to react, and in that split second of hesitation, he explodes into a relentless barrage of strikes. Hooks, elbows, body shots, each one calculated to wear down his opponent's defenses. The Rock absorbs them, gritting his teeth, but the force is undeniable. This isn't the choreographed battles he's used to. This is survival. But then, something shifts. Instead of purely defending, the Rock starts pushing back. His strength, his endurance, these aren't normal. He wasn't built like other men. Years of grueling training, pushing past human limits, have turned him into something few can match. And now, under the relentless onslaught, he begins to move differently. His strikes land with thunderous force. He starts to anticipate Khamzat's attacks, reading his movements. The crowd senses it too. This isn't just a test of skill anymore. It's a war of attrition, a battle of who can outlast the other. Somewhere in the audience, a phone buzzes with a single message: keep watching. This is only the beginning. The fight reaches a boiling point, the crowd on edge as the two titans refuse to break. Every strike thrown now carries more weight, every movement a calculated risk. Khamzat's speed and aggression are unmatched, but the Rock's sheer resilience is something he's never encountered before. Fighters crumble under pressure, but this man refuses to go down. It's as if every punch he absorbs only fuels him, his body reacting like a machine built for war. The disbelief flickers across Khamzat's face for just a moment, but he doesn't let it linger. He adjusts, adapts. If brute force isn't enough, then he'll drag the Rock into deep waters, where only the most savage fighters survive. The Rock, breathing heavily but still steady, steps forward again. He's not playing defense anymore. His hands are up, his stance tighter, more compact. He isn't just reacting now, he's fighting back with full force. A massive hook comes flying, and for the first time in a long time, Khamzat has to move, slipping just in time to avoid the kind of power that could shut the lights off instantly. The energy shifts. This isn't the one-sided mauling many expected. This is a war. And wars don't end quickly. From the shadows, the man in the suit watches closely, his fingers tapping against his knee in slow, deliberate rhythm. He knows something the others don't. This fight was never about proving who's the best. It was a test. And the moment the first punch was thrown, both men became pawns in something far bigger than they could ever imagine. The woman next to him glances at her phone, then leans in slightly. "It's time," she says, her voice barely above a whisper. Then chaos. The lights flicker, the entire underground arena shuddering as if something massive has just shifted. The crowd murmurs, uncertain if this is part of the show or something else entirely. Then, without warning, the screens displaying the fight feed cut to black, replaced by a single cryptic message. This is not about a fight. This is about control. The words pulse on the screen, glitching in and out as a deep, distorted voice echoes through the arena's speakers. Khamzat and The Rock barely have time to register what's happening before the first explosion rips through the building. It's not massive, but it's enough to send a shockwave through the arena, forcing the fight to come to a sudden halt. Dust and smoke rise from the far end of the venue, and before anyone can process it, security personnel rush in, their movements too coordinated, too prepared, as if they were waiting for this moment all along. The crowd erupts into chaos, some scrambling for the exits, others frozen in place, unsure whether to be afraid or fascinated. But inside the ring, the two fighters don't move. Their battle is unfinished, but something tells them that the real fight is only beginning. From the balcony, the man in the suit watches everything unfold with a knowing smile. Now let's see what they're really made of. The dust hangs thick in the air, the echoes of the explosion still rattling through the underground arena. Khamzat and The Rock stand frozen in the ring, their fight momentarily forgotten as chaos unfolds around them. Security forces flood the venue, their movements sharp and deliberate, too precise to be a simple emergency response. The audience, once electrified by the spectacle, now stumbles in confusion, torn between running for the exits and staying to witness whatever this is turning into. But something isn't right. This isn't a random attack. This was planned. Khamzat's instincts kick in immediately. He spent his life in battle, trained to read situations before they explode. And right now, his gut tells him that the real fight has just begun. He turns his head slightly, watching as The Rock takes a step forward, his face locked in the same controlled intensity he had during their fight. But there's something else in his eyes now: recognition. He's seen this before. This isn't just about them. From the balcony above, the suited man remains seated, completely unfazed by the chaos below. The woman beside him doesn't flinch either. Instead, she pulls out a sleek earpiece, listening for a second before nodding. "They're in position," she says calmly. The man exhales slowly, as if everything is playing out exactly as expected. "Let's begin." Without warning, the large screen in the arena flickers back to life, but this time, it isn't the fight being broadcast. Instead, it's a live feed from somewhere unknown, a dark, sterile room filled with high-tech monitors and a single figure sitting in the shadows. A voice, deep and distorted, crackles through the speakers. "Welcome to the real game." The crowd falls silent. Even Khamzat and The Rock stop moving, their eyes fixed on the screen. The voice continues, measured and deliberate. "For years, we've watched warriors rise and fall. We've seen power shift between those who believe they control the world. But true control has never belonged to the fighters. It belongs to those who orchestrate the fight." The figure leans forward, revealing just a glimpse of their face, enough to send a ripple through those who recognize them. The Rock's jaw tightens. Khamzat narrows his eyes. This isn't just about proving dominance in the ring. They've been pulled into something far bigger than a battle of strength. The feed cuts abruptly, and in that instant, the entire arena is thrown into motion. The security teams aren't protecting the fighters or the spectators, they're securing something, locking people in. A low hum vibrates through the walls, and the exit slams shut. This was never about a fight. It was about trapping them inside. Khamzat clenches his fists. He doesn't know exactly what's happening, but he knows one thing: he's not letting anyone control his fate. Without hesitation, he moves faster than anyone expects, taking down the first security guard who gets too close. The Rock follows suit, his instincts telling him the same thing: if they don't take control now, they never will. The crowd erupts again, but this time in panic. People rush the locked exits, pounding against them, shouting for answers. But in the midst of the chaos, the suited man in the balcony simply watches, a smirk playing on his lips. "Let's see what kind of legends they really are," he mutters. Then, just as quickly as it began, the power cuts out completely. The arena plunges into darkness. Silence grips the air. For a moment, the only thing that exists is anticipation. And then everything shifts. The emergency lights flicker on, casting eerie red glows across the space. The exits unlock. The massive screen flickers one last time with a final message before going dark forever. This was only the first round. By the time the lights return, the suited man and his team are gone. No trace of who they were or what they wanted. The only thing left is an underground arena filled with people who know they've just witnessed something far bigger than a fight. Khamzat and The Rock stand in the center of it all, still breathing hard, still ready for war. But they're no longer just opponents. They're survivors of something no one fully understands yet. And somewhere, in the depths of the unseen world, the real players are already setting up the next move,